الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Respected elders, brothers, friends, Alhamdulillah, yesterday we talked about Fadail of Qurbani and hikmat and wisdom behind the Qurbani. So today we will talk a little bit about Masaeil of Qurbani. I think what better to understand Masail than Behishti Zevar. So I'll just read from here and perhaps explain it while we are going through it. First of all, we have to understand Hadith says, Talabul ilmi faridatun ala kulli Muslim. Seeking knowledge is fard upon every Muslim. What is the meaning of the hadith? That whenever you intend to do something, inquire what the Shariat says about that. For example, our young friend Muhammad Bobat wants to get married, then he has to learn the Masail of Nikah. If someone wants to sit in I'tikaf, he should learn the Masail of I'tikaf. Similarly, other Masail, if Ahmad wants to start a shop, then he has to learn Masail of Bay'u Shira, Kharido Farokht, buying and selling. So it's Qurbani time, we have to learn Masail of Qurbani. It's our duty to inquire, learn, study. Some people think it's ulama's duty to come and tell us. So it's not the ulama's duty to come to your home and tell you the Masail. It's every individual's duty to go out there and learn. So Qurbani is ahead of us. Alhamdulillah, yesterday we talked about Fazail of Qurbani and we requested everyone to do one Qurbani here as well. And Alhamdulillah, today many friends told me that Mursa, we are doing Qurbani here inshallah. They asked for a number of our Hafiz Jan Muhammad Sahib and we want to do Qurbani here. It might be a bit costly over here, but don't worry. Inshallah, this will bring you great reward if you do Qurbani over here. And you know, Qurbani meat should be distributed in three ways. Number one, 1/3 for yourself. And number two, 1/3 for your family and friends. And another third for your neighbors and poor masakeen in your area. And if we all do muwasat and hamdardi and caring of one another, how beautiful the environment, the neighborhood will be. So we should learn the Masail of Qurbani and practice on them. Let's start with Hazrat Hanvi Rahmatullahi Alayhi mentioning the masala over here. As we mentioned yesterday, the one upon whom Sadqa Fitr is wajib, then Baqra Eid's Qurbani will be wajib on them as well. Upon whom is Sadqa Fitr wajib? Upon one who is a Muslim, muqim, and he has enough wealth which is beyond the nisab of zakat. Nisab of zakat in silver is roughly 250 pounds. So if you have 250 pounds or more, then Sadqa Fitr was wajib on you, Qurbani is also wajib on you. You might say it's very expensive, 150 pounds. Well, you got 250, so you have to spend 150 from there. You can keep 100 for yourself. Someone asked, my son has some savings. Does he have to give Qurbani money or do I have to give it on his behalf? Well, if your son is nabaligh, then you don't need to do Qurbani for him. But if he is baligh and he has saving, then it is on him and he should pay for it. If you were to pay for it, then the Qurbani will be done, provided you've informed him, you've told him, or he's told you, and there is agreement among you. Then you can do Qurbani on his behalf, but it will be due on him if he is mature, baligh, and he has more than 250 pounds or its worth in other assets which are not in his use. And 1 year does not need to pass on that wealth. Even if he just got that money 1 day before, still Qurbani will be wajib on him. So, this is upon whom Qurbani is wajib. Qurbani is not wajib on non-Muslim, it's not wajib on Musafir, though if he does it, he will get thawab. So if we were in Hajj at this moment of time, Qurbani would not be wajib on us because we will be Musafir. So we only have to give one dam shukr for dam tamattu' or dam qiran, whichever one. But Qurbani will not be wajib on us. If we do it, alhamdulillah, we get thawab for it, but it won't be wajib. And a poor person who has nothing, Qurbani is not wajib on him. He will be deserved of Qurbani meat. So why would Qurbani be wajib on him? He will be able to get that Qurbani meat. Then Hazrat writes the time of Qurbani. It starts from the morning Fajr of 10th and stays until the evening of the 12th. Best day for Qurbani is the first day, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, and then the 11th, and then the 12th. But if you delay it after 12, you can't do it on the 13th. Ghair Muqallid say you can do it on the 13th as well. But Mufti Razaul Haq Sahab writes in his fatwa that Ghair Muqallid ka koi mazhab nahi. They don't have a mazhab, so their call is Ghair Mu'tabar. So, Salafi Salihin, Aimmi Arba'a say Qurbani is Yawmul Adha wa Yawmani Ba'daha. There is one hadith in Mishkat as well, which says Eidul Adha and 2 days after it, no third day after that. And it's Qurbani is not correct before Eid namaz. After people have prayed Eid namaz, then Qurbani would be allowed. However, in Dihat and villages where there is no Eid Salah, then over there people can do Qurbani after Subh Sadiq. City or town people should do it after Eid namaz. So you have to pray Eid namaz and then do the Qurbani. One Sahabi came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, Ya Rasulullah, you know, on Eid day there are too many Qurbanis and too much meat, so people get put off meat. So what I did was, I did Qurbani, you know, before Eid namaz, last night, before Subh Sadiq, Fajr. Prophet ﷺ said, it's not counted, do another one. Meaning he sacrificed animal early and he distributed meat towards people's house so they can cook quickly and eat from there. So Prophet ﷺ said, nope, you did it before the time starts, your Qurbani is not done, you have to do it again. And it has to be done before the 12th. If it's delayed after that, it won't be Qurbani. 13, 14, 15, if someone missed his Qurbani, masla will come that he has to give sadaqah of that amount of money or sadaqah of that animal, but he can't do Qurbani. He won't be classed as Qurbani. His Qurbani is missed. If someone living in a city sent his Qurbani to a village and they did it before Baqarah Eid time, then, and even though he is in the city and his Qurbani time has not started yet, then the Qurbani will be done. And after that Qurbani is done, he can tell someone to bring that meat to the city and eat from it. What does this mean? One masala comes over here, which Mufti Razaul Haq Sahab has discussed in his fatwa, that sometimes Qurbani is sent in other countries. So, from England to India. And sometimes people send it from India to Saudi Arabia. Now the Eid days are different. If someone sent it from England to India and they were 1 day behind in Qurbani, there's no problem. Because they will do it tomorrow and ours will be 11th tomorrow and theirs will be 10th. Qurbani is okay. But the other case, if someone sent Qurbani from India to Saudi Arabia and their Eid was one day early. So in India the Eid is not done yet, but in Saudi the Eid is done, and they did the Qurbani there. So will the people of India, Pakistan, Asia, Qurbani will be counted or not? So he discussed it there, and he said, Muftiyane Kiram, some Muftiyane Kiram gave fatwa like Mufti Ahmad Khanpuri Sahib as well, and some others that no, whoever is muakkil, then his timing is mu'tabar. So the Qurbani will be according to the timing of the muakkil, not of the wakil. But then from Taraj, Mufti Rashid Ahmad Sahib Faridi or whatever his name I'm forgetting, and some other Muftiyani Kiram discussed the mas'ala, and they said no, it should be counted. It will depend on the wakil's timing. That when the wakil does it, if it is Eid, then the Qurbani of muakkil will be done as well. And this mas'ala which Bashti Zewar wrote over here could add to that, weight to that. Because as the Thanvi has said, that even though the time of Qurbani has not started for the muakkil because he's not prayed his Eid namaz, but for the Dihati Bedouin, his time had started. He did it after Fajr, the Qurbani will be done. And he can ask for the meat to be brought over here. So Mufti Razaul Haq Sahib supported the second view, that it will be based on the wakil, not on the muakkil. Hazrat said, the Qurbani will be okay on the 12th before sunset. If sun set on the 12th of Dhul Hijjah and then you do the Qurbani, it will not be allowed. On the 10th, one can do Qurbani at any time. However, it would not be correct to do Zabah on the night of the 11th because there might be, in the darkness, one might not be able to cut the veins properly, and Qurbani is not done properly, the animal dies and Qurbani will not be counted. So one should avoid doing it at night. This is according to where there is not proper lighting. But if the slaughterhouse we have over here, they slaughter at night, they can slaughter on the next night, not the previous night, because if they did it on the previous night, it is not started yet, it won't be counted. If someone was traveling and he returned home on the 10th or the 11th, on the 12th, before sunset, or he reached a place where he is going to stay for 15 days and became muqim, then now Qurbani will become wajib on him because he's become muqim. Even though he's after the 10th, on the 11th or the 12th, because he's muqim, Qurbani will become wajib on him. It is better to slaughter the Qurbani with your own hand. And one who doesn't know how to slaughter an animal should give it to someone who knows, but he should be present at the time of the zabah. If they are at a place where they can't, then no problem, there's no harm in not standing there. If we made someone wakil, we trust them, they do it for us, then that's okay. Hazrat Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to Hazrat Fatima that, "Oh Fatima, be present when your Qurbani is done. Because for every drop of blood that falls, your sin will be forgiven." So you have to, huzur, and being present there is also virtuous, but you try to be present there. Some ladies do Qurbani as well. Our friends in reunion, Maulana Ataullah Sahab, Maulana Abbas Sahab, Maulana Uwais Sahab, they mentioned there's this lady who does Qurbani every year of a beautiful large bull. And she slaughters the bull with her own hands. Now, mashallah, she has shock of it. She knows, she's an expert. She's a pharmacist, works in pharmacy, but she has this. And she buys that bull many days before Qurbani, looks after it properly, feeds it properly, gets attached, and then, mashallah, slaughters it herself. So ladies can do Qurbani as well. If they can, they know how to do it, they should do it. When doing qurbani, it is not necessary to read the niyat with the tongue, nor is it necessary to read the long dua. If someone just makes intention in the niyat, in the heart, that I am doing qurbani of myself or someone on behalf of someone, and with the tongue they only say Bismillahi Allahu Akbar and do zabah, then the qurbani is okay. If they know the dua, then it is better to read the dua which we mentioned yesterday. Inni wajjahtu wajhiya lilladhi fatara as-samawati wal arda hanifan wa ma ana minal mushrikeen. Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. La sharika lahu wa bidhalika umirtu wa ana awwalul muslimin. Allahumma minka walaka Bismillahi Allahu Akbar. And then cut with the knife, and then when it's cut and the blood starts flowing, then you say Allahumma taqabbalhu minni kama taqabbalta min habibika Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wasallam wa min khalilika Ibrahim alayhi salam. So this is the dua, masnoon dua for qurbani slaughter. If you can't remember the whole dua, just Bismillah Allahu Akbar will suffice as well. Qurbani is only wajib on behalf of oneself, not on behalf of the children. If the children are nabaligh, then even if they are wealthy, qurbani is not wajib on their behalf, not in one's wealth, not in the child's wealth. And if someone did qurbani on their behalf, the qurbani will be done, but they should do it from their own money, not from the nabaligh child's money. Okay? बकरी, बकरा, भेड़, डुम्बा, गाय, बैल, भैंस, भैंसा, ऊंट, ऊंटनी, इतने जानवरों की कुर्बानी दुरुस्त है, किसी और जानवर की कुर्बानी दुरुस्त नहीं. These are the animals whose qurbani can be done. Goat, female, male. Sheep, male, female. Cow, male, female. Buffalo, male, female. Camel, male, female. गाय, भैंस, ऊंट में अगर 7 आदमी शरीक होकर कुर्बानी करें तो भी दुरुस्त है. If 7 people take shares in one animal, it will be okay. However, the shart is that the share should not be less than 7th part, and that everybody should be intending qurbani or intending aqiqah if they needed to. One cannot make intention of meat only. If someone's share is less than 7th part, meaning 8-10 people take part in it, so their share is reduced 1/6 or 1/5, then qurbani will not be allowed. Not even for those who has full share, nor of those who have less than 7th share. Meaning everybody should have niyyat of taqarrub ilallah sawab. If someone does not have niyyat of sawab, only of meat, like normal days we eat meat, so you are slaughtering a nice animal, put my share in there as well, I will pay for the 7th part, but I only want meat, I don't want qurbani niyyat, I've done my qurbani elsewhere. Then the whole 7, the other 6% qurbani will not be done either. Everybody will have to do intention of qurbani. Or if someone had to do aqiqah and he make intention of aqiqah in there as well, then that could be allowed as well. You can include aqiqah in the 7 parts as well. Agar gai mein, we mentioned this masala, less than 7, more than 7, so they get less than 7th part, qurbani will not be done. If someone bought an animal for qurbani, and a large animal, a cow or a camel for qurbani, and when buying it they made an intention that if I find some partners I will include them in the qurbani, and then he found some partners who were ready to participate in him, then the qurbani will be okay. But if when purchasing the animal the intention was for the full animal for himself and no intention of partnering anyone else, and then someone came to be partners with them, then it will not be allowed to participate them. However, if someone did participate them in their qurbani, then it will be seen whether the person who has been made a partner was an amir upon whom qurbani was wajib, or a gharib upon whom qurbani was not wajib. If he was amir and qurbani was wajib on him and participated him, then it would be okay. But if he was gharib, then it would not be okay. There might be some reason behind it. If the animal of qurbani was lost and he purchased another one, and then the first one was found as well, then if the person is amir and then upon him will be qurbani of one animal only. But if he was gharib, then he will have to do qurbani of both animals. The one new one he is purchased and the first one which was lost and then found as well. Masla is masla. There is some reasoning behind it. Let's see if there is any reason mentioned in the Hashiyah. बस हाशिये में तो सिर्फ इतना लिखा है, इस मसले पर शुबा और उसका जवाब इमदादुल फतावा में मौजूद है, वहाँ देख लिया जाए. पता नहीं इसकी हिकमत मुझे समझ में नहीं आई. If 7 people were sharik in an animal, then when distributing the meat, then it will have to be weighed and distributed exactly and evenly. It can't be distributed by just estimation, because if one person gets more and the other person gets less, then it will be like interest. So it will have to be weighed and then given out. This is when they are all ajnabis. If it's one family and they eat together, then you don't need to wait. Then if a family, there is musamahat. But if 7 strangers are in participation with the animal, in the animal, then you will have to divide the meat equally and evenly. A goat of less than 1 year, qurbani of it is not right. When it becomes full 1 year, then qurbani will be allowed. Similarly, a cow or buffalo of 2 years, less than 2 years is not allowed. It has to be full 2 years old. And in camel, it has to be full 5 years old. Less than 5 years is not allowed. As for sheep and ram, if the sheep and ram is so big and flesh that it looks like 1 year and it's nearly 1 year, then the qurbani will be allowed. If it was to be made in line and standing with other 1 year ones, it doesn't look small, it looks big, then it would be allowed. Even if it's above 6 months, 7, 8 months, qurbani will be allowed. If it is placed with other sheep, it looks like same size, then it will be allowed. Otherwise, no. An animal which is blind, or 1/3 of one eye is blind and unable to see properly, or if 1/3 of the ear is cut, or 1 ear is fully cut, or 1/3 of the tail is cut, or more than 1/3 is cut, then the qurbani of such animal is not allowed. Will be classed as a defect animal, not allowed. If an animal is langda, lame, only walks on 3 feet, and he can't put his 4th foot on the ground properly, या चौथा पाँव रखता तो है लेकिन उससे चल नहीं सकता, he can put it on the floor but can't walk with it, then the qurbani of that animal will not be allowed. अगर वो चलते वक्त पाँव जमीन पर टेक कर चलता है और चलने में उससे सहारा लगता है लेकिन लंगड़ा करा के चलता है, तो उसकी कुर्बानी दुरुस्त है. If it walks on the 4th as well, but it is limping a little bit, then its qurbani will be okay. If an animal was extremely weak, frail, dubla, bilkul mariyal, only bones can be seen, there is no marrow in its bones, then the qurbani of such animal will not be allowed. If it's not so weak and frail, little bit weak, then it could be allowed. However, मोटे ताज़े जानवर की कुर्बानी करना ज़्यादा बेहतर है. To do qurbani of an animal with proper meat and flesh is better. An animal which has no teeth, then the qurbani of it will not be allowed. If some teeth have fallen off, however, the ones which have fallen off are less and the ones which remain are more, then it is possible to use that for qurbani. An animal which has no ears from birth, पैदाइश ही से कान नहीं है, तो qurbani of that animal will not be allowed because it's a defect. If it has ears but they are small, then the qurbani will be allowed because the ears are there, they've not been cut, they're only small in size. An animal which has no horns from birth, or it had horns but they were broken, then its qurbani will be allowed. However, if the horns had been broken right from the roots, then the qurbani will not be allowed. Sometimes farmers take them off from the roots, then the qurbani will not be allowed. If someone was slaughtering and in the middle of the process the horn broke, then that will be allowed, because in the process sometimes this happens. खस्सी बकरे और मेंढे वगैरह की कुर्बानी दुरुस्त है. A bakra which has been castrated, the testicles have been taken out, कुर्बानी will be allowed. जिस जानवर के खुजली हो उसकी भी कुर्बानी दुरुस्त है. अगर खुजली की वजह से बिल्कुल लागर हो गया हो तो दुरुस्त नहीं. An animal who has this itching effect like eczema, then if it's become so weak and frail that it can't even eat fodder properly, then the qurbani will not be allowed. Otherwise, if it's little bit, qurbani will be allowed. अगर जानवर कुर्बानी के लिए खरीद लिया तब कोई ऐसा ऐब पैदा हो गया जिससे कुर्बानी दुरुस्त नहीं, तो उसके बदले दूसरा जानवर खरीद करके कुर्बानी करे. हाँ, अगर गरीब आदमी हो जिस पर कुर्बानी करना वाजिब नहीं, तो उसके वास्ते दुरुस्त है वही जानवर कुर्बानी कर दे. If someone bought an animal for qurbani and then some aib and fault came into it because of which qurbani would not be allowed, then he can replace it with another animal and do that qurbani. He has to replace it. He can't do that qurbani, he has to replace it with another one. But if he was a gharib admi upon whom qurbani was not wajib, then it would be okay for him to do it. Masala. Qurbani's meat one should eat himself and give to the relatives and give to the faqir, miskin, muhtaj. And it's better that at least 1/3 should be given in sadaqah khairat. And in sadaqah khairat one should not reduce less than 1/3. Even if, however, if someone did only a little bit of gosht khairat, then he won't be sinful either. फिर से उर्दू में पढ़ देता हूँ. कुर्बानी का गोश्त खुद खावे और अपने रिश्ते नाते के लोगों को दे, फ़कीर मोहताजों को खैरात करे. बेहतर ये है कि कम से कम तिहाई हिस्सा खैरात करे, खैरात में तिहाई से कमी न करे. लेकिन अगर किसी ने थोड़ा ही गोश्त खैरात किया तो भी कोई गुनाह नहीं है. कुर्बानी की खाल, the skin of the animal of qurbani, either one should do sadaqah of it, khairat of it, or one should sell it and then do sadaqah of the price which he gains or earns for the skin, the hide. जिनको ज़कात का पैसा देना दुरुस्त है और कीमत में, हाँ, he should give it to such people who are eligible for zakat. कीमत में जो पैसे मिले हैं बियाइनी ही वही पैसे खैरात करना चाहिए. He should do sadaqah of the same money exactly which he got upon selling the skin, the hide. अगर वो किसी के पैसे किसी काम में खर्च कर डाले और उतने ही पैसे अपने पास से दे दे तो बुरी बात है, मगर अदा हो जाएंगे. If he used that money for his own usage, but then he gave it with other money, then this is bad, but the sadaqah will be done. You know, madaris in India, they gather Qurbani hide ही बोलते हैं ना उसको, or skin, and they get a lot of money for it. So they see, but chirm, Qurbani ka chirm jo hai, wo bhi humko do. So they gather it, they sell it. Who purchases that? People who have factories of leather, who make leather coats and leather shoes and leather purses and leather khuffain, you know, moza, masa, moza. So they buy that chamda and then they use it. So Qurbani animal's skin is also very precious. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Sayyidina Ali when he slaughtered 100 camels that the skin of the 100 camels should be given out in sadaqah as well. उस खाल की कीमत को मस्जिद की मरम्मत या किसी नेक काम में लगाना दुरुस्त नहीं, सदका खैरात ही करना चाहिए. The price of that skin cannot be spent in masjids repairing or other some rifahi kam. It should be given out to a गरीब मिस्कीन मुस्तहिक of zakat in sadqa. अगर खाल को अपने काम में लावे, जैसे उसकी छलनी बनवा ली या मशक या डोल या जानमाज बनवा ली, ये भी दुरुस्त है. If someone used the skin for himself, like he made some water carrier pitcher or a bucket or something with it, then or made a musalla janamaz prayer mat with it, then it would be okay, he would be allowed to do that. So you can't sell it and use the qeemat for yourself, but you can use the skin, because you can use the meat, so you can use the skin as well. कुछ गोश्त या चर्बी छीछड़े कसाई को मजदूरी में न देवे, बल्कि मजदूरी अपने पास से अलग देवे. For the butcher, their mazduri should not be given with meat or animal skin. It should be given in payment otherwise. So you can't say that slaughter this animal for me and you can take 2 kilos meat from there. No, if he is coming to slaughter your house, you have to pay him separately for the slaughtering, skinning, cutting, everything, whatever. Fix the amount from before. That you have to slaughter this animal. How much will you charge? I will charge you so and so much. You give him that. Now, slaughterhouses, they include their charge in the price of the animal. So the animal might be 100 pounds and they charge you 120 pounds. 20 pounds is for their cutting fees and whatever they have to pay over there. कुर्बानी की रस्सी, झूल वगैरह सब चीज़ें खैरात कर दे. किसी पर कुर्बानी वाजिब नहीं थी लेकिन उसने कुर्बानी की नीयत से जानवर खरीद लिया तो अब उसको उस जानवर की कुर्बानी वाजिब हो गई. Upon someone who was not wealthy, Qurbani was not wajib on him. But he somehow managed to gather some money and buy an animal for Qurbani. Then now Qurbani will become wajib on him. He has to do the Qurbani of the animal. किसी पर कुर्बानी वाजिब थी लेकिन कुर्बानी के 3 दिन गुजर गए, उसने कुर्बानी नहीं की, तो एक बकरी या भेड़ की कीमत को खैरात कर देवे, और अगर बकरी खरीद ली तो वही बकरी आइन ही खैरात कर दे. Qurbani was wajib upon someone, but 3 days passed and he didn't do Qurbani, then he can do sadaqah khairat of the price of 1 goat or 1 sheep. And if he had purchased an animal, a goat or a sheep for Qurbani, but didn't do it in the 3 days, then he has to do sadaqah of that animal itself which he had purchased for the Qurbani. जिसने कुर्बानी की मन्नत मानी फिर वो काम पूरा हो गया, जिसके वास्ते मन्नत मानी थी, तो अब कुर्बानी करना वाजिब है, चाहे मालदार हो या ना हो. और मन्नत की कुर्बानी का सब गोश्त फ़कीरों को खैरात कर दे, न खुद खावे न अमीरों को देवे. जितना खुद खाया हो या अमीरों को दिया हो उतना फिर खैरात करना पड़ेगा. If someone made a mannat, an oath, a vow that if this happens for me, if I get my visa, or if I get married, or if I, anything happens, if I get my job, then I will do one qurbani animal. Then that thing was fulfilled. Then he has to do qurbani, even if he is gharib or miskin or maldar, is irrelevant. And for that animal, which was his mannat's animal, he has to give the whole animal's meat in sadaqah khairat. He can't eat it himself, he can't feed it to anyone who is rich. And if he did eat from there, or if he fed some rich people, then he has to do that amount of meat sadaqah again. अगर अपनी खुशी से किसी मुर्दे के सवाब पहुंचाने के लिए कुर्बानी करे तो उसके गोश्त में से खुद खाना, खिलाना, बांटना सब दुरुस्त है, जिस तरह अपनी कुर्बानी का हुक्म है. If someone does qurbani on behalf of a deceased marhum, then it is allowed for him to eat from the meat of that qurbani and feed others as well, just as it is allowed for him to eat from his own qurbani meat as well. लेकिन अगर कोई मुर्दा वसीयत कर गया हो कि मेरे तरका में से मेरी तरफ से कुर्बानी की जावे, और उसकी वसीयत पर उसी के माल में से कुर्बानी की गई, तो उस कुर्बानी के तमाम गोश्त वगैरह का खैरात कर देना वाजिब है. But if some deceased person had made a wasiyat before he died, that from my legacy do qurbani on my behalf, and the heirs, inheritors acted upon that will, then they have to give the whole qurbani animal's meat in sadaqah khairat. They cannot eat from it. It's wajib to give it to poor people. अगर कोई शख्स यहाँ मौजूद नहीं और दूसरे शख्स ने उसकी तरफ से बगैर उसके अम्र के कुर्बानी कर दी, तो ये कुर्बानी सही नहीं हुई. If someone is not present and another person did his qurbani on his behalf without his instruction, then the qurbani will not be correct. और अगर किसी जानवर में किसी गायब का हिस्सा बिदूं उसके अम्र के तजवीज़ कर लिया, तो और हिस्सेदारों की कुर्बानी सही न होगी. And if someone participated an absent person in an animal without that person's instruction, then the whole animal's qurbani will be void, nobody's qurbani will be correct. अगर कोई जानवर किसी को हिस्से पर दिया है, तो ये जानवर उस परवरिश कर, but we mentioned this masala that this is for strangers. For family members it's allowed. For family members, if you did on behalf of your wife without her instruction, or your son without him telling you, then there is leeway in their flexibility, qurbani will be done. अगर कोई जानवर किसी को हिस्से पर दिया है, तो ये जानवर उस परवरिश करने वाली की मिल्क नहीं हुआ, बल्कि असल मालिक का ही है. If an animal is given in participation to someone, then the one who is looking after it will not be owner of it. The owner will be the person who gave it to him to look after it. इसलिए अगर किसी ने उस पालने वाले से खरीद कर कुर्बानी कर दी, तो कुर्बानी नहीं हुई. Therefore, if someone bought it from the person who was looking after it and did the qurbani, then the qurbani will not be done. अगर ऐसा जानवर खरीदना हो तो असल मालिक से जिसने हिस्सा पर दिया है खरीद लें. If someone wants to purchase such animal, then he should refer to the asal original owner and purchase from him, not from the middleman who is just looking after the animal. अगर एक जानवर में कई आदमी शरीक हैं और सब गोश्त को आपस में तकसीम नहीं करते, बल्कि यकजाही फुकरा व अहबाब को तकसीम करना या खाना पकाकर खिलाना चाहें, तो भी जायज़ है. अगर तकसीम करेंगे तो उसमें बराबरी ज़रूरी है. If a few persons were partners in an animal and they don't distribute it among themselves, but they give it to fuqara, masakin and friends at that place, or they cook it and feed it to people, then this is allowed. If they were to distribute it among themselves, then the equality will have to be maintained. कुर्बानी की खाल की कीमत किसी को उजरत में देना जायज़ नहीं, क्योंकि उसका खैरात करना ज़रूरी है. The skin of the qurbani animal cannot be given in ujrat and masdudi, because it is necessary to give it in sadaqah khairat if you are going to give it to someone. कुर्बानी का गोश्त काफिरों को भी देना जायज़ है, बशर्ते कि उजरत में न दिया जाए. It is allowed to give qurbani meat to kafirs, non-Muslims as well, provided it's not given in ujrat. Another place it said, although it is better to give to Muslims who are in need of it. अगर कोई जानवर घावन हो तो उस कुर्बानी जायज़ है, फिर अगर बच्चा जिंदा निकले तो उसको भी ज़बह कर दे. If an animal is pregnant and do qurbani of it, it's allowed. But if the child, the baby comes out alive, then qurbani will have to be done of that baby as well. Okay? Over here, Masaeil of Qurbani come to a close. If there is anything left, any questions, we'll cover it later on. Zikr time now, inshallah. Masail समझ में आ गए अच्छी तरह. अल्लाह पाक हमको मसाइल की समझ अता फरमाए, अमल की तौफीक नसीब फरमाए. बस इसको याद रखना. Just go in there. Jazakallah. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. لا إله إلا الله سيدنا ونبينا وشفيعنا وحبيبنا وسندنا ومولانا محمد رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا إله إلا الله 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 illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. إلا الله 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 إلا illallah, 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 illallah. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. الله 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 لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الله 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 لا إله إلا الله मुहम्मदुर रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम तस्लीमन कसीरन कसीरा। अस्तगफिरुल्लाह 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 ला इलाहा इल्ला हुवल हय्युल क़य्यूम। अल्लाह सुब्हानक अल्लाहुम्मा व बिहम्दिक नशहदु अन ला इलाहा इल्ला अंत नस्तगफिरुका व नतूबु इलैक। अल्लाहुम्मा लकल हम्दु व लकश शुक्र। अल्लाहुम्मा ला नुहसी सनाअन अलैक अंत कमा असनैता अला नफ्सिक। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि व सल्लिम व बारिक अला सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद व अला आलि सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद अब्दिका व रसूलिक अन्नबिय्यिल उम्मी नबिय्यिर रहमह कमा तुहिब्बु व तर्दा अदद मा तुहिब्बु व तर्दा कुल्लमा ज़करहु ज़ाकिरून व कुल्लमा गफ़ल अन ज़िक्रिहिल गाफ़िलून। अल्लाहुम्मा रब्बना आतिना फ़िद दुनिया हसनतन व फ़िल आख़िरति हसनतन व क़िना अज़ाबन नार। रब्बना इग़फ़िर लना ज़ुनूबना व इसराफ़ना फ़ी अम्रिना व सब्बित अक़दामना वंसुरना अलल क़ौमिल काफ़िरीन। रब्बि इग़फ़िर वरहम व अंत ख़ैरुर राहिमीन। रब्बि इग़फ़िर वरहम व अंत ख़ैरुर राहिमीन। रब्बि इग़फ़िर वरहम व अंत ख़ैरुर राहिमीन। अल्लाहुम्मा इग़फ़िर लना वरहमना वआफ़िना वरज़ुक़ना वस्तुरना वजबुरना वहदिना वरफ़अना इन्ना लिमा अंज़लता इलैना मिन ख़ैरिन फ़ुक़रा। अल्लाहुम्मा इग़फ़िर लिजमीइ उम्मति सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। अल्लाहुम्मा अर्हम उम्मत सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। अल्लाहुम्मा तजावज़ अन उम्मति सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। अल्लाहुम्मा इफ़्तह अग़फ़ाल क़ुलूबिना बिज़िक्रिक व अतमिम अलैना बिनिअमतिक व अस्बिग़ अलैना मिन फ़ज़लिक वजअलना मिन इबादिक अस्सालिहीन वजअलना मिन इबादिक अज़्ज़ाकिरीन अश्शाकिरीन अस्साबिरीन वजअलना मिन औलियाइक अलमुंतख़बीन अलग़ुर्रिल मुहज्जलीन। अल्लाहुम्मा इजअलना नुअज़्ज़िमु शुक्रक व नुक्सिरु ज़िक्रक ونتبع نصيحتك ونحفظ وصيتك. ربنا اجعلنا لك ذكارا لك شكارا لك رهابا لك مطواعا لك مخبتا إليك أواها منيبا. ربنا تقبل توبتنا واغسل حوبتنا واجب دعوتنا وثبت حجتنا وسدد ألسنتنا واهد قلوبنا واسلل سخيمة صدورنا يا رب العالمين या रहमर राहिमीन। महज़ अपने फ़ज़ल और करम से हम सब की पूरी पूरी मग़फ़िरत बख़्शिश फरमा दीजिए। हम में से किसी एक को भी महरूम न या अल्लाह हमारे हाल पर रहम फरमा दीजिए। हमारा टूटा फूटा ज़िक्र कबूल फरमाइए। हम सब को ज़िक्र की बरक़ात नसीब फरमाइए, ज़िक्र के अनवार नसीब फरमाइए, ज़िक्र की रोशनी अता फरमाइए, ज़िक्र के ज़रिए आपका क़ुर्ब अता फरमाइए, आपकी मोहब्बत आपकी मारिफत अता फरमाइए, आपका ध्यान आपका इस्तिहज़ार अता फरमाइए। इश्क़ इलाही और इश्क़ रसूल की दौलत से हमारे क़ुलूब को सरशार फरमाइए। हमें आपका खौफ नसीब फरमाइए, आपका ध्यान अता फरमाइए। क़यामत के दिन आपके सामने खड़े होने का फ़िक्र नसीब फरमाइए, हिसाब किताब का फ़िक्र नसीब फरमाइए। हमारी ज़िंदगी में तब्दीली सुधारा पैदा फरमाइए। हमें अपने मुक़र्रबीन महबूबीन बंदों में शामिल फरमाइए। हमारे अकाबिर मशाइख़ की क़ब्रों पर अपनी रहमतें नाज़िल फरमाइए, उनके दर्जात बेहिसाब बुलंद फरमाइए। हमें भी उनके नक्श कदम पर तरीक़ पर चलने की तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमाइए। या अल्लाह ज़ुल्हिज्जा का मुबारक महीना चल रहा है, हमें इसकी बरकत नसीब फरमाइए। या अल्लाह हम हज में नहीं जा सके, या अल्लाह हमें माफ़ फरमाइए। हमारी कोताही कमज़ोरी सुस्ती गफलत माफ़ फरमाइए, हमारे गुनाहों को माफ़ फरमाइए, हमारी बेअदबी गुस्ताखी को माफ़ फरमाइए। या अल्लाह हमें महरूम न फरमाइए, हमें वहाँ की हाज़िरी जल्द अज़ जल्द नसीब फरमाइए, बार बार नसीब फरमाइए। और या अल्लाह बार बार नसीब फरमाइए। हरमैन शरीफैन की हिफाजत फरमाइए, मस्जिद नबवी शरीफ की हिफाजत फरमाइए, रोज़े रसूल की हिफाजत फरमाइए, काबतुल्लाह शरीफ की हिफाजत फरमाइए, उसकी तक़द्दुस की हिफाजत फरमाइए, मस्जिद अक़सा की हिफाजत फरमाइए, बिलाद हरमैन की हिफाजत फरमाइए, बिलाद इस्लामिया की हिफाजत फरमाइए। ममालिक इस्लामिया में आपस में क़ुलूब में उल्फत और मोहब्बत, जोड़ और मवद्दत पैदा फरमाइए। इख्तिलाफ, शिकाक, निफाक, लड़ाई झगड़े, इंतशार को ख़त्म फरमाइए, शैतानत को ख़त्म फरमाइए, नफसानियत को ख़त्म फरमाइए। या अल्लाह हरमैन शरीफैन की भी हिफाजत फरमाइए, तमाम ममालिक इस्लामिया की हिफाजत फरमाइए। या अल्लाह हर मोमिन मुस्लिम के जान माल इज़्ज़त आबरू औलाद इस्मत इफ़्फ़त इज़्ज़त की हिफाजत फरमाइए। हमारी टूटी फूटी दुआएं सुन लीजिए। रब्बना तक़ब्बल मिन्ना इन्नका अंतस समीउल अलीम व तुब अलैना इन्नका अंतत तव्वाबुर रहीम। सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि व सल्लम अला सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद व आलिहि व सहबिहि अजमईन बिरहमतिका या अरहमर राहिमीन।